another perfect day. I love LA. We love it. I love LA. We love it.
Hello. Welcome to another episode of Dab Sports. I mean, I realize I don't be introducing us, but you got D, you got Adam. You can look below. You'll see the D and Adam, which is which. Um, Hope you had a good Thanksgiving. I mean, shit, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was good, man. No complaints. No complaints. Got good football, good food. No complaints here. How about yours?
Man, it was chill. Went back home, so it was pretty chill. Didn't do too much. The food wasn't bad, so did a little bit of drinking. Same old, same old.
Usual. Yeah.
Yeah, man. But I mean, we know what the people want to hear. Uh, the Rams played the Carolina Panthers. The Rams were heavy favorites, and we, I guess, shocked the world because going into this, I think we both agreed the Rams, if it wasn't the best team, the second best team in the NFL, and we shocked them with a 31-28 score. Bryce Young 200 yards, 3 touchdowns. We rushed for 164 between Rico and Chuba. Um,
Yeah.
so all around, the offense played well. Um, I guess I go ahead and start. And maybe I'll take some of your thunder. Man, Michael Jackson, he got to be up there on the list because the main reason why me specifically expected him to put up 40 is because like Mike Jack is your number one corner going into that game, and Mike strapped some niggas up. He got that pick on Devontae Adams. Um,
Sure.
yeah, like he didn't single-handedly win the game, but damn it, he was a big piece. Like that defense as a whole, like we did not see that because it started exactly how we expected. Like they went right down, touchdown, right back, touchdown. Like it started how we talked, and I don't. I like to think the defense listened to the podcast and they heard the shit we was talking and they was like, let's
Yeah.
shut that sports up.
The shit everybody was talking.
Yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, so like, man, it's a real kudos to the defense. Our Coker and Savior is back. He's healthy. Um, wasn't great for my fantasy team because I wanted some more to go to T-Mac, but still, overall, as a team, like, it's good to see our Coker and Savior back. He was doing what he did last year. He's fully back, little injury or whatnot. Um, Shit. And the only other thing I will kind of say before I let it get to you is last week during the pod, if you listen to the pod, you should listen to the pod. We give you good information. Sometimes we pick the wrong score, but shit, all the other people do too. But mention Chuba last week and short bursts showed a little pop from what we saw last year. And once again, just another person being back to the form that we saw them at last year, like Chuba. Got to give him his kudos because it was like he was like, man, enough this Rico stuff. Now Rico still had a solid game, but still, he was like, hey man, I'm still Chuba.
Kind of showed why he won the job in camps. Like if Chu can give us that, so Rico is one of those backs, man, where like he's really shifty. He tries to like obviously he runs violently too, but Chu was like not gonna play around. He's trying to go straight through the numbers and he gets those tough yards. He's always gonna get that for the most part if he's healthy. Rico, he can get those yards, but he's a lot shiftier. Obviously it's his worth when we can get him out as a receiving threat or if we can get him out in the space. So that's why I was so happy when they were. I thought like we was gonna have like a double trouble. It didn't go right the first couple weeks, but I think we're seeing now the reason it didn't because Chuba wasn't 100%.
Yeah, like yeah, especially early, he was definitely the better back. Like, um, maybe it was partly because the Rams were all out to stop Rico, but yeah, the first couple runs, I believe he got like a yard or two. A couple times he didn't even get a yard, and Chuba was the one who could go get the 4 or 5 yards, 6, 7 yards. Um, Yeah, because he averaged 4.9 a carry, and Rico was 3.2, and it felt like it might have been even a little more of a gap than that, watching the game, especially early. Uh, but yeah, man. But besides, that, your thoughts on what you saw?
Yeah, man, like you said, defense. Mike Jack, obviously he gets kudos because the pick six turned the game. I still feel like Derrick Brown is just the MVP of the defense, bro. I mean, he had two plays that were big. The hit the ball off his head, to get the deflection. So Nick Scott could get that early interception. Um, we just came up with the game was so crazy. I've already watched the highlights and stuff like 3 times, bro. Because it's just interesting how like you said, they were able to move the ball down the field, and we were moving the ball too. I felt like we were our run game. They could not stop. Like, to be honest, they could talk about how good they were moving the ball. We were moving the ball downfield as well. We put up a lot of points. Now our defense did help in that by giving us solid field position a couple times, but more importantly than anything, stopping them in the red zone like that, where it's like not only did they not get 3 points, they didn't get anything. You know what I'm saying? So that was huge, bro. Like obviously that was the turning point of the game. And then our offense, all we were asking them to do was keep not turn the ball over and make key plays, bro. And that's exactly what they did. It was a good win. I really couldn't believe it as it was unfolding. We might have touched on this when we were doing the prediction show where we was like the only way we could feasibly see us winning is if we got a few turnovers early or we got a few
Hmm.
turnovers we were able to do ball control, right? But I just didn't see that happening because I was like, man, with a defense this good, even if we sustain a few drives, they're going to be able to put up so many points that we're not going to be trying to milk the clock. It just so happened like once we got the lead, and even though we didn't play the end of the half well either. I don't think we got any points out of that, did we? Uh,
Um, no.
21-17. Because we wanted to go ahead and get a score there and then hopefully had a ball back with only down one or maybe even up by three. But I think Bryce took a bad sack. That's the only thing kind of shifting to Bryce. That's the only bad thing I could say about Bryce's play yesterday was he still takes a couple bad sacks on those like second and long plays where it's like second and 10 already or maybe even second and 14 because we've gotten the penalty. And then he'll take a sack where you heard Drew on the ball saying like, dude, you got to dirt that ball, something. Because even if you end up getting the intentional grounding, at least you tried. You know what I'm saying? Like to just take the sack and we lose 8 yards there, and knowing how conservative we are, especially with the weather yesterday, it's basically you're just conceding that you're about to punt that possession. So
Yeah. To go back to your Derek Brown point, what kind of popped in my head is like, especially back during our age, it may not be the same now, but when you would see like a black dude do a windmill, but then a white dude come right behind do the windmill, like just something about the white dude doing it just make that shit pop a little more because you expect it from the black dude. And I said the thing with like Derek Brown, like don't get it wrong, Derek Brown had a great game, but like we was expecting Mike Jack to be destroyed out there, and he didn't. Like he made some pivotal plays. The secondary as a whole, like don't get it wrong, they still went up and down the field, but we, I personally, I say for me, I personally thought it was going to be a lot worse. Like,
I think we all did. But I will
yeah,
say this, but I understand your point. I just feel like, say, if we were giving out awards, which we should eventually start giving out awards on after like if we had an MVP and then say like a pride of the Panthers, I feel like Mike would be the pride of the Panthers because it was like well, that's like more sentimental or personal because it's like yo, you performed higher than I expected, but I still feel like his pick six, the impact on the game, Derrick Brown, I feel like still had more of an impact. But like I said, because I mean, Mike did do well, but they were still like you said, they were able to move the ball on this all game through the air and on the ground. He happened to have a good play. Even the play on Puka, he was playing that play perfectly. So Mike's quote after the game, he said, "Yo, I was trying to show everybody that I was number one. That we got a 1A and a 1B over here. I still don't know about that, but we got a damn good corner as our number two. You know what I'm saying? If we've been talking about what we're gonna do in the draft this off season. If we get another like stud corner, which there's a good amount of them coming out in this draft, then like I'm gonna be very, very happy with where our secondary is, especially seeing how Ransom stepped in to just it was almost like Trevon missing. Like you could have told me that that you switched their jerseys or whatever, and I would have like that's the same player. He was hitting. He looked just as physical as Trevon up there. He's learning.
yeah, I felt like I missed Morik, on those two. It was like two Adams plays back to back. Like one time Adam was running on a cross wide open, and Matthew Stafford just missed him. And then the very next play, uh, Adams was wide open again and he hit him. And I feel like that's where kind of like Murray would have at least been there a little more. But yeah, like I said with Mike Jack, it's just the expectation of like Derek Brown. it's one of those things where, like in the NBA, you could argue for a period of time LeBron could have got the MVP every year, but it's because what you expect from Derrick Brown versus here. Man, I just didn't expect it. I figured I just knew this pod was gonna be a 10-minute Mike Jack killing. Like he's clearly not a number two. Is he a number three?
I wouldn't have even killed him just because we're so hampered on every other end. And to be honest, bro, like we shouldn't have even expected that Mike Jack was going to be the main culprit of the killing because even though he's not like somebody that warrants the respect on the scouting report yet, that I got to stay away from him. When you got Shaw Smith Wade and other dudes that you could pick on, and you got Puka and Devontae, I think it was always going to come down to just who had which matchup Matt felt better with. You know what I'm saying? And clearly, like especially in the red zone when it mattered most, he felt better with the other side of the field because he didn't even target Mike Jackson really in the red zone. Puka was just all it was almost like schemed up. So you know what I mean. But he did a good job, man. Salute to Mike for sure. Salute to Mike.
I mean, coming to the Bryce point of it, like that's about the game I expected from Bryce. Being down a huge favorite. About 200 yards, a couple touchdowns. With that being said, he still played a solid game. That late sack. After the Rams scored with 2 minutes left. Take us out of field goal position wasn't great. But he took care of the ball. Um, so the defense scored. So still to put up, I believe he had 3 touchdowns. So to still put up 21 points is a positive. Not gonna knock that, but it still just goes back to the defense. Like for me, like you tell me Bryce scored 31, I wouldn't have been shocked just based off the circumstance. And I always believe he, plays well when we're huge favorites. But to tell me the defense held them to 28, wait, what? Like
Yeah.
I'm looking at it and I still don't believe it. Like even when the first one happened, like I text you when it was the helmet pick, I was like, well, shit, we're gonna need like 5 more helmet picks because granted, um, that was still a play Brown made, but it's still a little fluky, with the football, the way it can bounce up. Like it bounced up perfectly where, someone can get to it. We've done seen plenty of plays where the ball bounced up and somebody's diving to try to get to it, but they couldn't. So it bounced up high enough for somebody to get up underneath it. So it was a little fluky in that. But all the other defensive plays, like the sack fumble, the pick, like that was Muggs, like making plays. So,
Yeah.
Bryce, give him kudos for the game he had, but I mean, I don't. I say that's all defense right there, like holding that offense to what they held them to, at least in
Yeah.
my opinion.
No, yeah, I mean, it's respectable. I can't necessarily argue with it. I would just, in my opinion, I feel like it's more of closer to a 50-50 share, only because, like, when I think about they made the defense was getting, they were allowing yards. It goes back to the, the old cliche, bend but don't break. They just got, the turnovers when it mattered the most. So I definitely give them kudos for that. I just feel like the Panthers on offense, we made just as big plays, 2 fourth down touchdowns. You know what I'm saying? Like to 2 fourth down touchdowns. My bad, an alarm went off. But yeah, what I was saying was I just feel like it's more of a 50-50 just because the Panthers offense was so clutch on those crucial downs, the 2 fourth down conversions when we score for touchdowns. I got Bryce's numbers up, and this is not just a Bryce stat. This is a offensive execution stat: 8 for 10, 162 yards, perfect 158 passer rating on those third and fourth down. So I think one thing that we are learning about our team is even though we're still up and down from week to week, like our team in the clutch is a good team. Like we execute. We kind of at when we're playing a good game, the team clearly knows what we are. Like when we aren't playing good offensively, a lot of times you can't look to Bryce at least from the outside without knowing like exactly how the coach is thinking and how everything else. Just from my looking outside watching TV, it seems like okay, maybe Bryce just isn't confident today, and because I know Rico and Chuba is going to do what they do. I know T Mac's going to do what they do. Coker's going to do what they do. XL is still a little dependent, but like our offensive line is a top 10 line. You know what I'm saying? Maybe even top 5 the way they look sometimes. So when Bryce is playing like that, where he's protecting the football, and I've been talking about it all season. I think even you have said it before. Like he plays, he can do well on those third and short, and just those fourth down situations when if it's a tight contested game. I do have faith that Bryce. Those aren't the times where Bryce lets us down. Bryce lets us down when we either feel like we're going to win, like you say. I guess that goes into the expectations thing, and we're like, damn, I felt like we should have won that game, and we lay an egg. But when we're in a tightly contested game, up until this point, it hasn't been Bryce dropping the ball. It's been like we will just allow, our defense hasn't been up to par, and we've allowed just one extra score or a better quarterback. But dude, whenever we face these top tier quarterbacks, with the exception of Josh Allen, Bryce Young be holding his own, bro. So like if our defense is playing good, like you said, they're definitely the stars of the day. But I just feel like when you think about the fact that the Rams were moving the ball on them, and Carolina was moving the ball too, we had to keep pace, right? We had to keep pace, and we don't have as an explosive offense as them, so we were able to capitalize on those opportunities, and that's why we won the game. So I have to give them. I can't give all the defense all the credit. I do have to salute the offense for stepping up clutch too, bro.
Yeah, the defense, yeah, it kind of do remind me of the old school John Fox being don't break, with the gambling them boys back there. But
Yeah,
with that being said, like, yeah, I said this going into the San Fran game. Like for me, I expected Bryce to have two good games versus these two teams because, you know, I knew the other teams were going to be high favorites. Rams was even bigger favorites. Like, so I expected him to have a solid game. Our offense, I mean, he's probably for me, and maybe it's just partly my views. Like, I still give more to like some of that Chuba pop at the beginning we needed because like that first drive, those first couple drives was a heavy run, and you can tell the plan going into that game was, hey, we need to hold this ball as long as possible because that's going to be our best chance to stop this offense. And I think once we was able to start getting stops, I think that's when Dave and them felt a little more comfortable, kind of opening it up a little bit. But once again, still got to give Bryce credit because he was money on third down. Like we was really good on third down and on fourth down as well. But for me, to really have judgment, like he's gonna have to do this versus the Saints for me. And I know to a lot of people that's crazy because the Saints is a bad team. But if you listen to this pod, you know my views. Those games right there where he has expectation of winning is when he
yeah,
lays his egg. So if he has the same game against the Saints, then I'm gonna have to come give him kudos then because now you're doing it when you're expected to do it. And as you
yeah,
know, I saw a screenshot well, I forgot where I saw it, and it was like 10 different of the main media people. Everybody picked the Rams to beat them. And those are the games where he'll have a solid game, a decent game. And then the defense helped him. Like, and Coker showed back up and Chuba was able to, you know, move the sticks early. So yeah, all around team win. Like at the end of the day,
yeah. It was
that
our
was all
most solid
53.
full team win. Yeah, like because like the Green Bay
Yeah.
game, we didn't really help them offensively. The Atlanta game, the offense basically won us that game, right? So it's like this is our best full out team win. So yeah, I mean, for me, I'm not even for me, it doesn't even matter. Like just for me personally, I don't even care about the Saints. Like the fact that we're favored next game, it's about putting two together, right? Like for me, Bryce is just so up and down, which I think has been the cause of our team be going that way because our defense has been pretty stout with the exception of two games. The two blowout games. So I feel like they're not gonna. We don't have a team type of defense where we're gonna stop every team from hold every team from 17 or below, but they do well. So if Bryce can just show consistency, I don't give a damn who it's against. If he shows again, if he can put together a stretch of 3 games, because that's what you got to do in the playoffs. You can't win one game and then be off a game and then get another game the next week. You got to win 3-4 games in a row. He's got to show us that he can do that. If we 8-8, 9-8 is not going to work for us. It's every season. So he's just got to show that he could put 2, 3, 4 games together in a row, no matter who it's against, whether he's favored or not. Because in my opinion, whether obviously we don't get favored a lot in these games, but we've been the underdog in a lot of games, and he still will have a dud, right? Like he'll still have a
Yeah.
dud even when we don't have the expectations. So Bryce just got to be consistent, bro. Like I said, we know we're gonna get out of O-line. We know we're gonna get out of most of our skill position pieces, and we're starting to get a feeling like that we know we're gonna get out of our defense. We were giving Evero a lot of shit over these past couple of years, bro. We were like, yo, you've had at this point 3 years to get you the pieces that you want on defense. You've moved guys out, you brought dudes in. I think we finally are seeing like Because I mean, bro, it's really next man up mentality. We be missing.
Yeah.
Yesterday we missing our two leading tacklers, and we didn't skip a beat. It's just about scheme and understanding what you need to do. They coaching them boys up on that side of the ball, man. I like what I'm seeing.
Yeah. Yeah, Matt. Yeah. Um, on the Bryce part, I disagree, but we've done had that conversation a million times.
Oh, I wasn't
And
trying to
if you,
persuade you. Yeah, I was
oh
just
yeah,
telling you how I felt
yeah.
about it. Yeah,
Well,
I wasn't trying to
I was just
persuade you.
letting the fans know if they want to hear those conversations,
They
go
know
listen
if
to
they're watching at this
earlier
point.
pods.
If they're watching at this point, they fully know how you. That's why I didn't. That's why I didn't say I disagree with you. I'm not here to disagree. You know, I disagree with you. I'm talking about the how I felt. So yeah, I just
Yeah,
I can't give them your. You can't give them your side, and you're not giving my side. I got to, man. But yeah,
but
I'm still a Bryce believer. I still want Bryce to because at this point it's about what you believe Bryce is going to be. Like if or what you are okay with. For me, I don't see Bryce being like a top 5 quarterback at any point in time. I don't think you have to have a top 5 quarterback to win a Super Bowl though. I think you have to have a top 5 quarterback to do something dynastic where you're in the Super Bowl 2-3 years or whatever, but even though looking back at it now, Russell Wilson really was never a top tier quarterback. We just thought it was because he was sheltered by that Legion of Boom. But they were in constant contention because they had a great defense. We're trending towards having a really good defense. Everybody's young on our team, and we have a lot of good skill position players. So I mean, I think that if Bryce, the formula for us is we don't want Bryce having to throw 35, 40 times a game. We want 25 or lower, and him to just be good on those obvious passing situations and just to be clutch for us. Like we talked about, we know he can make all the throws because he's done it. You can't throw against 450 on a team and not be able to make the throws. Got to be consistent with it though, bro. Got to be consistent.
yeah, yeah. We'll see. I think you do got to have an elite quarterback to win a Super Bowl. Um, like
I can name
even
quarterbacks who weren't elite, bro. I can name a
I'm
lot.
talking I'm talking about recently, I would say in the past like 8 years or so. Yeah.
8 years.
It's been yeah.
But that's only Pat and Tom and Matt. Like that's 3 guys. Like I mean, I get what you're saying, but Pat has had basically a stranglehold on the league just like Tom did, but even during Tom's reign, you got dudes who. So you got to kind of look at the eras like over the past 3 decades. You're not going to get it's once again in order to do something dynastic, you do have to have an elite guy. That's why there's only 3 guys who have won because those guys are going to have you constantly in it. But I do feel like if you have a good team, a Nick Foles can get in there and get you one. You know what I'm saying? Like you can get
But
somebody who can slide in there
but
and get you one, bro.
shit, I think Big Dick Nick, playoff Nick is a top 5 quarterback. Like I don't know what he becomes in the
I
playoffs.
think he had a top 5
Like
roster. I think he had a top 5 roster. I think that roster, if you look at it, Carson Wentz was on the verge of being an MVP that year. And we see that even that was fraudulent because I don't believe that was truly who he was if he hasn't been able to recapture even a glimpse of that. No other stop that he's went to. He's been with your guy, Frank Reich. He's been with everybody, and they haven't been able to make him look like a good quarterback again. I think it was the system, the offensive line, and what they were already had building there in Philadelphia, bro.
I think he's like Jimmy Butler. You just got to get him to the playoffs. That was those couple years he had with Philly. Like he just made it to the playoffs. I think all those other teams he didn't make it to the
He's
playoffs. I think he's
he's
like
had one, bro. He had one bright spot that one
it was
year. Other than that,
no
Nick,
the year after that too. He had a great run. He didn't make it to the Super Bowl. He had a good run the year after that too.
well,
Till
that's what I'm
Carson got
saying.
hurt again.
That's what I'm saying. He's a decent quarterback, but when if you point into a year and 2 years of a guy's career, he wasn't like an elite quarterback. He was solid, like which is what a lot of dudes are. Like I don't think Matt Ryan was like the elite. I think he was a very good quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Like if people talk about putting Matt Ryan in the Hall of Fame or something, then Cam definitely got to be in there. You know what I'm saying? It's about your impact on the game and what you do in the biggest moments. So I feel like I get what you're saying. I just feel like a quarterback like Brock Purdy had a chance to get of winning one. I feel like they could have easily
But
won.
that's my point though. The Matt Ryans, the Brock Purdy's, like those guys gonna fall short. Like you need a guy who's elite at something. Like I don't think Russell Wilson is elite, but his playmaking at that time and escapability was elite.
Both of the 2 dudes that I just named lost to GOATs, like the 2 dudes that we consider 1 and 2, Pat Mahomes and Tom Brady. So, like, if we run into Pat Mahomes, I'm with you. But if we run into anybody else, then I'm not. I feel like we got a fair shake. That's the way history has shown us. If you're not running into one of those top guys who like during their, because football is like one of them things where the best guys, if they get into the Super Bowl, they most of the time they're gonna go 5 for 7. We're not talking about Jim Kelly out here. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna win most of the ones. I think John Elway actually went 2 for 2, but you know, Brett Favre went 1 and 1. So I feel like they're gonna get there, but you know, if you have a good guy and you have a solid team, like we had the better quarterback when we lost to the Broncos. Peyton was a scrub. You know, at that point in the season, it's about what you have around the quarterback, bro. And once again, the very next year they went like 9-8 because Peyton was no longer good and they had to go with Brock Osweiler. So once again, I feel like that goes into my point of sustained dominance. If that's what you're looking for, then I get you. But to say that we can't win with Bryce, I just feel like that's not. You can't fully say that. You can't fully say that unless he shows us that he is an incompetent quarterback, and he hasn't shown us that he's incompetent. He's shown us that he's shaky at best. So, at worst, I should say, shaky.
Yeah, you know, I just hope we don't pay him, but we'll see.
Hope we don't pay him. Bro, we're about to have a real discussion at the end of the season whether we had the best quarterback in that draft. A real discussion. Like we'll be able to in another year we might be having a different discussion but when we look at C.J. Stroud, Caleb Williams, and Bryce, who's having the better career at that point? Because C.J. Stroud hasn't done nothing since his rookie season, and Caleb Williams has looked decent. You know what I'm saying? But Bryce Young, bro, Bryce Young has had the most game-winning drives in the league since he's entered the league. So he's showing us, you know, like winning medal that the other guys haven't shown. So, like, I mean, I don't know what else you want,
Hey,
man.
I love it. It's fine. I'm gonna let you have your week because guess what? When we play the Saints, this conversation gonna change.
I
So
don't. Are you a
it's
Panthers
fine.
fan or not? Are you a Panthers fan or not? Because by saying
Yes,
that, you're saying that
I
we're
I
going
I,
to
I
lose this
feel
against the
I
Saints.
feel I feel like I'm the only Panthers fan because everybody else wants a quarterback that just puts us in mediocrity. You know what I'm
Mediocrity.
saying? Middle
Yeah.
tier. Can't,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know why I can't talk in the moment. Like, I don't want the Tua experience. Like, it's just not what I want. I don't want the Brock Purdy experience.
But
Like,
my whole
I
thing
don't
is
want that.
my whole thing is this. It's one thing to say I don't want it. I would be on board with you if they had already signed him. The team hasn't even re-signed him yet. He's going into a lame duck year, so they're still thinking like we are. We're not sure yet. So as long as that's the
Oh, I'm
case,
sure.
we're waiting. No, but you don't sign the checks. My point is because even though you're sure, there's no reason for you to hate on the team. Like these dudes is putting like we want to see the team progress. If Bryce does not look good towards the end of the season, a change will be made, bro. But if he shows signs that he can be a guy, to me, too, at no point in time showed that he was the guy. And he looked okay, even under Flores, he looked okay. Then when he got Mike McDaniels, what we say, yo, he's got a track team as receivers, and Mike McDaniels clearly runs a hell of a system. At no point in time even when he was getting quote unquote MVP consideration, everybody felt like Tyreek was really the MVP of that team. So I don't think it's not even, you know, it's not apples to apples, bro. And Trevor Lawrence got that deal after he had won a playoff game. So you know, I get what you're saying. I just think that like you need to slow down a little bit. If you're a Panthers fan, I think you should want what's best of the Panthers, and what's best of the Panthers at this point is for us to win games. All right, yeah, that's the only. I mean,
Okay.
that's the best thing. I mean, we're not going to get a top 5 pick at this point. We're 7-6. So the best thing for us to do is win games and put on tape what we can do. And if we'll know at the end of the season if Bryce is the guy or not. We'll know officially, not just what you
Okay.
think you know, Mr. NFL Scout.
Hey, man. All I'm gonna say is to everybody who's still watching, thanks. You've heard some version of this conversation now going back 2 years, and it will continue because I'm not changing. Unless you
Yeah,
prove me wrong against
Bryce
the
can
Saints. But with
no,
that,
Bryce can win a Super Bowl, and you can be like, you'll be sitting here saying the defense won us that Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? You'll never admit to being. I've never heard you say you were wrong a time in your life, and I know I've known you for a long time. I know you've been wrong before. I've never heard it, okay? So I don't expect to hear it now. I mean, I don't think so. Bryce could win an MVP. He could win a Super Bowl, and you'll be talking about him like he's like it was fluke. So. I mean, I don't know how you'll spin it, but you'll find a way. You'll spend late nights trying to figure out a way to spin it. I know you will.
hey, when all else fails, no matter what happened, I'm still gonna say, hey, y'all watching, please like, comment, subscribe. Please send the link.
Please, please. Yes,
No matter who ends up being right, which it will be me, but still.
it
Um,
won't.
and I just want to shout out to everybody who don't root for me, Rocky, who want greatness. Shout out y'all. Um,
I want greatness
but
too,
with
man.
that being said, man, I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to touch on.
Nah, man. Just enjoy, and I hope everybody enjoys this victory Monday, and get a nice little bye week. Hopefully, we get everybody back. Hopefully, we get Rose back. Hopefully, we get obviously we getting Trevon back. So yeah, man. I don't want a downer going into this next week. Obviously, we'll have another pod to talk about the game. But yeah, man. I don't want a downer. So that's what I'm hoping for.
Bet. Yeah, but yeah. So once again, man, appreciate everybody. Like, comment, subscribe. Um, and we will see y'all later on this week. Uh, do a little something for the bye. Um, don't know what yet, but we'll do a little something. So just stay tuned in with us.
I ain't rapping in a minute, nigga, but I'm back though, nigga. Boy, go crazy.